Welcome students. This is the last part of the interference where we are going to determine the wavelength of monochromatic light used by the Newton's ring experiment. So in the previous class I have already told what is the experimental setup to get the Newton's rings, what are Newton's rings and on what principle this works. All these have been told. So now just I will recall and we will move ahead how to determine wavelength of monochromatic light by Newton's ring experiment. So look at the experimental setup here, look at the figure here. So yes, is a monochromatic light used. This is emitting the light in all the direction and this light is allowed to pass through the convex lens, and with the help of this convex lens we are going to get the parallel rays. So these parallel rays are allowed to fall on the glass plate, on this glass plate, which is exactly at 45 degree with the horizontal. So why this is placed at 45 degree already has been told, because for the normal incidence, so glass plate is placed exactly at the 45 degree. So these parallel rays, this is made to fall on this glass plate which is at 45 degree. Then here what happens, it is going to, part of this will be reflected and part of this will be refracted. So in this direction, so these parallel rays are going to move, and since the glass plate is at 45 degree, here we are going to get the normal rays, means along the normal the rays are going to incident on the glass plate. This is plano convex lens and the glass plate. In between the plano convex lens and the glass plate there will be the air film of variable thickness is created. So because of this only we are going to get the rings, alternate bright and dark fringes of the rings. So now these parallel rays, when this falls on the glass to air boundary, here glass is there and air is there. So when this is allowed to fall on the glass to air boundary, first here at this glass to air boundary the rays are going to reflect, and then again they transmit, then air to glass boundary will be there. At the end of this air film there will be air to glass boundary. So these first ray that is reflected from the glass to air boundary and the second ray that is reflected from the air to glass boundary. So these two rays are going to meet, they will interfere, and then they form bright and dark fringes of the circular shape. Because of this shape of this air film, at the contact, at the point of the contact, thickness is minimum, and as you move away from this center the thickness of the air film is continuously increasing. So the rings we are going to get that too alternate bright and dark fringes, and those fringes that we are going to observe with the help of this traveling microscope. On the traveling microscope again some scale arrangement will be there. So with the help of those scale arrangement, the diameter of the dark fringe we are going to measure. So if you measure the diameter of the dark rings, then with the help of that we can find the wavelength of monochromatic light. So already in the previous class I have told what is the relation that is connecting diameter or radius of the dark ring and the radius of curvature of the plano convex lens. Already it has been told. So the relation is, let us suppose Rm is the radius of mth dark ring. So radius of the mth dark ring is given by the formula Rm square is equal to m into lambda into r. So this already has been come in the previous derivation of Newton's ring. So this we know Rm square is equal to m lambda r. This is the condition for, this is for the radius of mth dark ring. Radius of mth dark ring is given by Rm square is equal to m lambda into r. So where lambda is wavelength of light used, that is to be determined, and r is radius of curvature of the plano convex lens. Now we know that there is a relation connecting radius and the diameter, and that is given by radius of mth dark ring is equal to diameter of the mth dark ring divided by 2. And if you square this, what you are going to get is, if you square the above equation, this dm square divided by 4 is equal to m into lambda into r. Rm is dm by 2. Rm square is dm square divided by 2 square 4. If you substitute this in the above equation, that you are going to get dm square divided by 4 is equal to this m lambda r. This is as it is. Send this 4 to the RHS. What you are going to get? dm square is equal to 4 m lambda into r. So now for the, let us suppose there are two dark rings. I will denote that as m1 and m2 are the two dark rings. So for m1th dark ring, the above equation that I am going to write as dm1 square is equal to 4m1 lambda and r. These two are constant and you call this as equation 1. Now for the second dark ring, I will denote that as for m2th dark ring. The above equation becomes equal to dm2 square, that is equal to 4m2 lambda into r. You call this as equation 2. So now subtracting equation 1 from equation 2, what you are going to get is dm2 square minus dm1 square is equal to 4 lambda r. 4 lambda r is common from both the terms. 4 lambda r I will take common, and what you are going to left with is m2 minus m1. m2 is the number of the dark ring, second dark ring that I have chosen, and m1 is the first dark ring that I have chosen. So 4 lambda r m2 minus m1. So from this I will make the little rearrangement and I will write for lambda is equal to. If you write for lambda is equal to, what you are going to get is dm2 square minus dm1 square whole divided by m2 minus m1 into the remaining term is 1 by 4r. So this I will write as 1 divided by 4r. So now in this expression, dm2 is the diameter of the second dark ring, dm1 is the diameter of the first dark ring, and m2 and m1 are the number of dark rings I have chosen. Then r is there in the equation. R is radius of curvature of the plano-convex lens. So this radius of curvature of plano-convex lens, this we can measure with the help of speerometer. So with the help of speerometer you can determine the radius of curvature. So this will be constant for the given plano-convex lens. So what is our aim is, with the help of traveling microscope we have to determine this dm1 and dm2. So if these two things you measure with the help of traveling microscope, means the wavelength of light can be easily determined with the help of this Newton's ring experiment. So now let us suppose what is the nature of the graph you are going to get for this is, it is like this. The dm square, that is the square of the diameter of the dark ring, is taken along the y-axis and the number of dark ring is taken along the x-axis. If you plot the graph of these two, what you are going to get is a straight line passing through the origin. Here the straight line you are going to get. Then to find the slope, let us draw at this diameter. This will be the dark ring. For this dark ring, this is the diameter, and for the next one more dark ring, let us suppose this is the diameter that you are going to get. So this I will denote as dm1 square. This is for the m1th dark ring. For m1th you are going to get a dm1 square, and for m2th dark ring, so this you are going to get, that is dm2 square. If you plot the slope, then this slope represents, slope is equal to this dm2 square minus this dm1 square. So I will denote this as ABC. So slope becomes AB, distance AB divided by distance BC. So this AB is dm2 square minus dm1 square divided by m2 minus the distance PC, that is m2 minus m1. Then this slope value I will substitute in the above equation. So the expression for the wavelength of light, that becomes equal to lambda is equal to 1 divided by 4r, this is constant for the given plano convex lens, into slope of the graph of dm square versus m. This is how to find out the wavelength of light used by Newton's ring experiment. So here completes the unit interference. In the next class onwards we will go through the next unit, that is diffraction. Thank you.